Of California. Madam Speaker, thanks so much for your time this morning. We have a lot to get to, and I want to start with the 2024 landscape. You have been at the center of Democratic messaging and strategy for so many years, and I'm interested. You made the point to my colleague Dana Bash a couple weeks ago that this is the moment where the president and his team need to get out more. They have a message, they have a resume, they need to start talking about it more. He's going to be in Pennsylvania today. Have you seen a shift in the message that you think is effective over the course of the last couple weeks?
Yes, well, now we are in the election year, and the president has been working very hard over the past 3 years to do what is necessary to meet the needs of the American people. Now he can go talk about it, and he has a lot to say. The kitchen table needs are what are the most important to families, but also make the biggest difference in elections. Look at the votes. Look at the job numbers. Over 14 million jobs created while he was president, set unemployment reduced, inflation on the downturn. And I'm very proud of what's happening with health care. He has worked to reduce the cost of health care, whether through the Affordable Care Act or the cost of prescription drugs. People have to know because their kitchen table needs are what are important to them. And the democracy message relates to the kitchen table. Democracy is a personal issue. Freedom of choice to have when and if you have a family. Freedom to enjoy your work, knowing you have a pension so that your family will be secure. The education of your children, the safety of the environment in which they live. He scores very high on all of those points. And many people are appreciating and enjoying it. They just are not giving him credit for it. And this is what we have to do now, is to make sure that not only the president, but other validators come forward.
I don't know if my ears were hearing correctly, or maybe they deceived me, but did Nancy Pelosi actually say that the kitchen table issues, like job security, like security of your family and your homes, in your communities, in your towns, your pensions, your health care, your prescription drugs, all of those things the president scores high on? He scores high on security concerns. He's scoring high on immigration. He's scoring high on pensions. Maybe if you're a government employee, you got a government pension. Certainly not in the private sector. I don't know what the hell Nancy's talking about. This is a laundry list of liberal lies that they do each and every single time. And then they couch it with, these are the kitchen table issues. They might be kitchen table issues, but you're lying about them through your teeth that may fall out because of the verbal diarrhea that continues to be emanated by jokers and clowns like Nancy Pelosi, who just needs to literally just go freaking away. We don't need her anymore. She's too freaking old. We didn't like her to begin with on the right. She just needs to go. But she won't, because she is a mouthpiece for the Democratic Party, an effective one in terms of what they want to do, which is continually just lie, lie, lie. Anyways, folks, that's what we have on tap for you today. You're watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nasir, where I give you my political prescription from my political perspective of what happens when you have people like Nancy Pelosi coming together with the Alphabet Network, MSLSD, the Delusional Network, peddling our lies. Remember when Nancy Pelosi said back in 2016, Trump won't be president? You can take that to the bank, to the bank. Remember when she said that? Now she's going to say that Trump's victory is going to be impossible? Really? Anyways, let's get back to more of the interview with Nancy Pelosi on MSNBC and see the amount of lies that will just continue to pile up in the next few minutes. Let's go to that right now.
To say what he's done, but what's really important to people is what he is going to do. Nobody votes for you for what you've done.
Right.
They want to know what comes next.
When you say other validators, What do you mean by that? Because there's been some criticism that there aren't enough surrogates out there. There aren't enough people within specific constituencies in the Democratic coalition, or just generally, that are getting the message out in an effective way.
Well, they will. I
they
don't
will.
find that to be a problem. They will. The governors, elected officials, yes, but also community activists as well. For example, you give me the opportunity to talk about our outside mobilization. This is neighbor to neighbor.
Neighbor to neighbor.
In 2018, you may recall, people said, weren't you lucky that health care became the issue in the campaign? I said, no, we weren't lucky. We made our own luck. We had 10,000 events where people told their stories about what the Affordable Care Act meant to them. Now you have the former president saying Obamacare sucks. No, it doesn't suck. It cures.
It cures.
Affordable Care Act cures. And as you see, record number 20 million signed up, and we should still have a couple more days to go with that.
Right.
But it won't be, the surrogates are the people telling their stories across the country. And that mobilization to own the ground, to get out the vote, to win the election for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, the United States Senate, and the House of Representatives.
It's critical every cycle, no question about that. And you guys have certainly demonstrated success on it when you won back the House and when President Biden won in 2020. I think the question, though, you raise a lot of things that I think drive some of the...
But remember, in 2022, she lost the House, which caused her to lose her speakership. And that was huge. But he didn't talk about that, did he? See, this is the stuff, you can put stuff in your spin, you can take stuff out of your spin. That's what MSLSD does.
Frustration. If you look at the legislative record that you were detailing that the president had in the first 2 years, and the way that on individual basis, every single piece that you laid out there pulls quite well. You lay out what the former president has said he wants to do in terms of repealing Obamacare, in terms of being proud of Roe versus Wade being struck down, in terms of more tax cuts along the lines of what you saw in 2017. That also polls much better for Democrats than it would for him. And yet, this is a neck-and-neck race, and no one feels very comfortable on the Democratic side of things that Donald Trump isn't going to be the next president.
Well, I don't think that nobody feels. I think many of us know that it is impossible for him to be the president again with what he is proposing. Well, because when you're...
The reason she's saying that is because of the same types of things that they pulled in 2020. If you want to say that it's going to be impossible, this is what lends credence to everybody talking about when governors, secretary of states, not the legislators, no, but people that were not authorized to change the laws and change voting. Places where you vote, how you vote, mail-in ballots are allowed, absentee ballots, no chain of custody, doesn't matter, take as much time, there's no time deadlines, whatever, in terms of this thing here. If you're going to do the same type of crap that was pulled in 2020, that's how you can make a statement. They basically say it right out there, folks. They tell you what they're going to do. It's going to be impossible for him to be president. What else can you take from that?
Talking about what he's talking about now is more tax cuts for corporate America, taking them down so low to the detriment of our budget and meeting the needs of people.
Why don't you spend less?
People have to know. I have said over and over again, President Lincoln said public sentiment is everything.
Right.
With it, you can accomplish almost anything. Without it, practically nothing. But public sentiment has to be informed. People have to know. So we can talk more about what he has done, what it means at the kitchen table for people to have lower costs for prescription drugs, lower costs for health care, because it's not just about their good health, it's about their financial health and security as well. And instead of just talking about why aren't they doing more, we are and we will. And again, our inside maneuvering to get the job done, the president's vision for our country, his knowledge of the issues, his strategic thinking as a legislator are so important, but so is his
vision, his knowledge, his strategic thinking. His vision, he squints, He can't see. He doesn't know what he's doing. He can't talk. He mumbles and stumbles and bumbles. He can't put two words together, let alone a sentence. In strategic thinking, he's senile dementiated. That's my word. He's senile dementiated. He can't think, let alone be strategic. So again, Nancy Pelosi, verbal diarrhea, putting out the lies. We all can see through it, but it's just amazing to keep continuing to come out. It would have been better if she just stayed at home in bed and not made this ludicrous, illogical show of support for the President of the United States. But that's what she's going to do regardless, even if she knows she's going to look foolish and like an idiot and a moron and look retarded. She's still going to come out here and do that because they still feel that's effective.
Emotional connection, the empathy he has for working families in our country.
Right.
He springs from that background and he understands it and he cares about it. So that's what that you will see.
Yeah.
And again, the president and millions of people mobilizing outside to get the message out, neighbor to neighbor, friend to friend,
Right.
person to person.
Do you wish he was, you make the point about kind of who he is or how Democrats see him and why he's been effective as a politician, particularly within the party over the course of 5 decades now. Do you wish he was not, I don't mean out giving campaign speeches more, I just mean out more, talking in interviews, talking on the ground, doing rope lines. We just haven't seen as much of that.
He is out. He's out of his freaking mind. That's where he's out of. He's out of his freaking mind.
Well, you know what? The president has the weight of the world on his shoulders. He's the president of the United States, a very challenging job. There are only so many hours in the day. And I trust his judgment that now people are starting to pay attention.
He needs at least 24 hours a day to sleep so that he can get rid of the senility that's occurred during the rest of the day. At least 24 hours a day he needs to sleep. We don't know what he's doing with the rest of the day.
You can be saying things, and people are busy living their lives, raising their families, doing their jobs. It's a tough time. So you want to spend the time talking to them when they're ready to listen. And now that the campaign year has started, and you talked about the weather in Iowa for next week, I'm so sad for the voters there, even though it's just
She's really sad for the
a
voters.
Republican caucus, that they have the opportunity to cast their votes in a safe way, health-wise too, as it's so
Right.
cold, but also the danger of snow. But it is an election time has vitality about it. It's exciting, and we respect people's views, we respect their concerns. But I've always said, you can tell them everything you've done, but nobody gets elected because they deserve it. They get elected because of what they're going to do next. And what he is going to do next is, again, to continue the work he's done for America's working families, whether it's a child tax credit,
Right.
continuing to save Affordable Care Act, save the reduction in prescription drugs, and continue to grow the economy, but again, in a way that gives confidence to people that
Folks, there's only so much stuff that you can take. I mean, the verbal diarrhea, the amount of lies, the laundry list of liberal lunacy that she literally came on and displayed here is absolutely amazing. But this is what they do. This is what they do. She's speaking to that hardcore base that have TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome, that hardcore base that depend upon the government to give them everything that they have. That's who she's appealing to. That's who she's speaking to. She is in no way, shape, or form is she speaking to the Republicans or the independents. She may be thinking she's speaking to the independents, but those independents that are way liberal, left leaning. They're not really independents. They're left leaning. That's who she's speaking to when she comes on these alphabet network shows that are acolytes of the Democratic Party in their strategic arms as well. There's no difference between the White House and the mainstream media or the alphabet networks out there. They're all one. One does the bidding of the other. You wash my back, I'll wash yours. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasir. If you haven't done so already, we'd love for you to subscribe to the channel if you like our content. Like, share, and follow us. Comment below. Share us what you think. Take a look at our other video links here and down here. My final thought as always, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.